You know that face. You've seen it 100 times. For nearly 5 decades, TK Carter was one of those actors who just made every scene better. Today, we're going to celebrate the life and the incredible career of this truly beloved performer.
So, some really sad news has been making the rounds lately, with multiple outlets confirming that the veteran actor has passed away.
He was just 69 years old, and he left behind this incredible legacy of work that we're going to get into. All right, so whenever news like this first breaks, the details can get a little fuzzy at first. So let's just start with what we actually know, what the initial reports have officially confirmed. And here's the important thing. The main reports from both TMZ and Deadline, they're telling the same story. The core facts line up. They both say he was found on a Friday at his home in Duarte, California. The call for service came in at 5:42 p.m. And, maybe most importantly, law enforcement sources are saying that no foul play is suspected.
Now, while those details are important, really, the best way to remember an actor is through their work, right? And for a whole generation of us, TK Carter is forever cemented in our minds because of his role in one of the greatest sci-fi horror movies ever made.
And that role, of course, was Nauls in John Carpenter's 1982 masterpiece of paranoia, The Thing. I mean, think about that movie. It is packed with incredible character actors, but Carter's performance as the cool, roller skating chef, it just completely stood out. And it's so easy to see why he was so unforgettable in that role. I mean, in a movie that is just dripping with tension, Nauls brought this amazing spark of life. He's the station's chef, and he's just gliding through these super claustrophobic hallways on roller skates, music blasting in his headphones. It's that personality, that vibrancy, that made what happens to his characters so powerful.
But look, if we only talked about The Thing, we'd be missing out on such a huge, varied career. For decades, he was just a constant, welcome face on our TV screens.
I mean, this chart really only scratches the surface, but just look at the consistency. Back in the 70s, he's doing guest spots on absolute classics. We're talking Good Times, The Jeffersons. Then you get to the 80s, and he's a mainstay on shows like Punky Brewster. And that just kept going, right through the 90s and beyond, with really memorable roles in The Steve Harvey Show and that incredible HBO series, The Corner.
Yeah, and we're not talking about just bit parts here. He was Mike Fulton, the cool teacher in Punky Brewster. He was the absolutely hilarious T-Bone on The Steve Harvey Show. And hey, for any 80s kids watching, you almost certainly heard his voice without even knowing it in some iconic cartoons like The Transformers and Gem.
So we've got this iconic film role, this massive television career. Where did all that versatility come from? To really get that, we have to go all the way back to the beginning.
So you gotta wonder, right? Where does an actor who can just effortlessly handle horror and comedy and drama, where does a guy like that get his start?
Well, for TK Carter, it all kicked off on the comedy stage. And this is pretty amazing to think about. According to Deadline, he started doing stand-up in LA when he was just 12 years old. 12. He was honing his craft at legendary spots like the Comedy Store.
This timeline, man, it really lays out what an incredible journey he had. Just think about it for a second. From a 12-year-old kid telling jokes on stage to his first TV role in '76, then his big breakout with The Thing in '82, starring in a huge blockbuster like Space Jam in '96, all the way to his final roles just last year in 2023. That is almost 50 years of steady, dedicated work.
And his film career was so much bigger than just 1 or 2 big roles. He was in that intense action thriller Runaway Train with Jon Voight, the gritty Walter Hill thriller Southern Comfort, and then he could just pivot on a dime right back to comedy in Disney's My Favorite Martian. The range was incredible.
So when you step back and look at all of this together, all these roles, a really clear picture starts to form. TK Carter was truly the definition of a dedicated, respected, working actor.
And this one story he shared really highlights that grit, that perseverance. For the amazing HBO series The Corner, a project he was super passionate about, he actually had trouble just getting an audition. He said it wasn't until a good friend connected him with a manager that, and these are his words, the stars aligned. It's just such a perfect example of the hustle it takes to build a career that lasts.
And that work ethic, it just never stopped. He was active right up until the very end. I mean, in 2023 alone, he had a role in The Company You Keep and this really significant recurring part across 5 episodes of the show Dave. He was working, doing what he loved. So as we kind of process this news and look back on this incredible body of work, it really leaves us with one final thought, one final question. How will TK Carter be remembered?
You know, I think he'll be remembered as that face you are always, always happy to see pop up on your screen. He was one of those actors who could just jump between any genre you threw at him, you know? From the pure terror of sci-fi to the comfort of a sitcom. He was a constant presence, a total professional, and a performer who brought this unique energy to every single thing he did for almost 50 years. And that's a legacy that will absolutely live on.